Hello, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video unless you're new. And in that case, welcome. I'm Sam. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I feel like when September 1st hit, I got up that morning and the air outside was cool and crisp. Just immediately started to feel like fall. Fall is my favorite season of the year, which is quite ironic considering I'm a plant person and obviously our plants don't tend to do as well in the fall. Anyway, the whole point of this fall talk is just the fact that I thought what better way to welcome fall in this year than to start it off with an Anthurium video, because there's no other genus of plants that I can think of that are more suited and fitting for fall. For the most part, they are dark and velvety, mysterious, all around just beautiful plants. And I realized I've never done an Anthurium collection video on my channel. I've never done any type of Anthurium video on my channel. There's a reason for that, which I will get to in just a moment. I've thought about doing an Anthurium collection video for a little while, but every time I consider it, in the back of my mind, it's like, no, you don't really have enough Anthuriums in your collection to do a whole video about it, but why not? I don't have to have all of the biggest, most beautiful Anthuriums to make a video about them. I'm not going to be sharing any care tips or anything like that in this video, just solely because I don't think I'm qualified to do so. I'm still very much a beginner when it comes to collecting Anthuriums, and I'm still learning, so I'm definitely still having mishaps. I got my very first Anthurium about 1.5 years ago. I guess we're working on 2 years now, and that was a crystallinum. I've probably killed more Anthuriums, or at least majorly impacted their health, like on the decline. Like I've made more Anthuriums decline than any other plant genus, I would say. So with that being said, I only have a couple that are like, you know, big and beautiful, and the rest of them are babies or rehabs that are currently starting over. So I guess now that we got all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right on into my Anthurium collection. Okay, I think we're gonna do smallest to biggest. I have more small babies than anything, so let's go ahead and do that. Actually, you know what? Let's start with this. I have a chunk. This is the only one that's an actual chunk and doesn't have any leaves. So let's go ahead and start with this. So if you've been here for a while, you may or may not have seen the Airwood Market unboxing I did about 6 to 7 months ago when we first moved to this home that we're currently at. I had ordered this Anthurium Big. I'll put it on the screen somewhere so you can see what it looked like. It was really jaw-dropping, like kind of unbelievable that the size of the plant that I unboxed. It had many large, beautiful leaves, but unfortunately it wasn't import, and because the leaves were so heavy and it was, you know, shipped to me across the country from another country at that, all of the petioles on that plant completely snapped, or did snap, over the course of the first week in my care. They just completely broke. I lost every single leaf. I'll be honest with you, I just left it in the pot that it was in, the soil that it was in, that I had potted it in, and I just kind of had it sitting in my plant room, drying out way too much. I just was not caring for it like I should have been. I should have been in an enclosed space. I should have moved it to a smaller pot right away. Like, there's just so many things I should have done, and I probably would have a new plant by now, but I didn't until about maybe 3 to 4 weeks ago. I finally pulled it out. I put it in moss in this small little container. You can see the roots there. They look really nice and healthy. And I put it in a Begonia bubble, okay? And I actually just noticed that there is some growth action. So I'll insert some close-ups for y'all because I don't think I'm going to be able to really show you. Let's see. That little pink bit right there, that is a new growth point coming in. So it is finally about to put out a new leaf. I mean, it sat in there and did nothing for months, you guys, because I just wasn't giving it any attention or care or trying to rehab it. I wasn't trying. Literally a couple of weeks after I put it in the appropriate pot in moss in an enclosed space, it's already actively putting off a new growth point. So that's pretty amazing. I do think that Anthuriums are really resilient. I think they are. If you put in the time and the care and the attention that they need to rehab them, you can get them usually to root or grow back. So just one thing to keep in mind. Next little baby is this Anthurium Vichy. This was a plant that I got, I believe it was off Etsy, and it was very inexpensive for what it was. Obviously it's a seedling, much smaller than this. This was probably like the largest leaf it had, and it's already lost all the other itty bitty leaves because it did have spider mites a couple of times, but none of the leaves had the Vichy ripple, the ribbing on the leaf that you see on these newer leaves. So yeah, I have struggled a little bit with this one just because I refuse to put it in an enclosed space for the longest time, and I don't think that all anthuriums necessarily need high humidity or need to be in an enclosed living space. But I do think that anthurium seedlings especially really do need that. Like to do their best and grow their best, I think that they need the extra humidity and the extra care. So I've recently moved him to a humidity box and he seems to be doing fine. I just can't wait until this one is a fully established plant and I get the really large, beautiful leaves. I tend to stay away from the more finicky drama queen anthuriums because I'm still learning with even the so-called easy anthurium. So the next one I'm going to show you is actually in this little terrarium situation that I have going on here, and I absolutely love this anthurium. So I'm going to insert some close-up footage so you guys can actually see him on the screen here. But this little cutie is my Anthurium Violin. This one's just really a beautiful plant. The veination on this one is truly striking, especially when the leaves get a little bit more mature. So this one was growing fine and it was giving me, you know, new leaves relatively quickly. I mean, it wasn't taking a super long time to produce new leaves anyways, but I noticed the moment I threw it in this enclosed space in this jar, which you can see all the plants in here are absolutely thriving, living their best life. But the moment I put him in here, his leaves literally doubled in size because it was a seedling as well. So you can see how large these newer leaves are here compared to the older ones, which he has lost. And then he's also putting out a new leaf right here. So anthuriums, whenever they put out new leaves, no matter how mature or big the plant, the mother plant itself is, when they put off new leaves, they're always itty bitty. They're very tiny and then usually red. But I have noticed that this one in particular doesn't really have red leaves. When they first come in, they're not really red on the Violin, but they are tiny and they gradually grow bigger and bigger. So it's pretty fun actually watching these leaves come in and like trying to guesstimate how large the next newest leaf is going to grow to, like what is the potential of that new leaf. Seriously thriving in this jar of moss. Loves it. All these plants do. Yeah, that's my Anthurium Violin. I'm really enjoying that little jar. It's got some of my favorite babies in there. Next, definitely a favorite, 100%. Big wish list Anthurium right here. I've talked about it a couple times on my channel, but yeah, I'm just going to continue talking about it probably because I love it so much. This is Anthurium Radicans X Luxurians, supposedly. Anthurium Radicans and Luxurians both look quite similar to one another. So this is a hybrid of the two, and I do think, like, even though the two parent plants look really similar to one another, I do think this one tends to look a little bit more like Radicans rather than Luxurians. Regardless, it's supposed to be a mix of the two, and regardless, I love it so much. Like, I seriously obsessed. Right after this plant arrived, it immediately started growing. It didn't seem to have any acclimation period whatsoever. It just immediately was like, this is my new home. Hi, how you doing? I'm gonna take off for you. It is living in a begonia bubble, so I will say that much. Loves it in there. This was the last newest leaf here, and this is the very newest leaf that it just recently put off. And this is also the first new leaf it's put off in my care. These leaves are really beautiful when they come in. They're a really deep, dark blood red. Very tiny, but they do have the beautiful texture on the leaves, even as itty bitty little baby leaves. And yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this. I'm not sure if this leaf is completely done growing yet. I'm gonna assume maybe, because it's looked the same for a couple of days now, but it's almost the size of its last leaf. So that's a really good sign considering this was shipped to me in the mail. It didn't have an acclimation period. Like, it didn't take time for itself to acclimate anything. It just spit out a new leaf and basically the same size as the last. This is a beautiful Anthurium hybrid with these gorgeous red petioles and then the super dark textured leaf. Obsessed with the texture on this. It's definitely very reptilian. I am living for it. Hopefully I can acquire the parents to this plant as well, specifically the Luxurians, but until then I am definitely going to eat up every second with this plant because I just really infatuated with him. He's my baby. Love him so much. How could you not love this plant? It's just gorgeous. This is my Anthurium crystallinum. This was a cutting and I rooted it myself. and it had a different small leaf that looked basically just like this. And it was one leaf for about a year, and then it finally rooted and started to grow, and it gave me this leaf about 2 months ago and lost the old leaf that was hanging on for literally a year. It has some nice pretty roots down in there. Anthurium roots they're really cool because they're super thick and meaty. They're like tubes, white tubes going down through, and they're really resilient as well. I mean, anyways, this is the leaf it gave me a couple months ago. You can see it's teeny tiny because obviously this plant is restarting. It's starting from nothing. I popped him in my humidity box a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, and he started pushing out this new leaf here. Like, look how itty bitty that guy is. They come in so tiny. It's really, really cute. I'm just happy to finally have more than one leaf on this Anthurium, and I'm happy to finally hopefully start getting larger leaves and have an actual established Anthurium crystallinum in my collection finally. Okay, this one looks really rough, I know, but please don't judge him, okay? He's been doing his very best, and he's been through a lot. So this is an Anthurium Forgetty Eye. Oh, this poor leaf. He was absolutely gorgeous when he was shipped to me, but he did not handle shipping well at all. This is one Anthurium that really did not like to be shipped whatsoever. Within the following weeks after being shipped to me, he crisped up all of his gorgeous leaves, every single one of them, just completely like really, really brutal crisping. So I've struggled a bit with him, lost all those leaves. This was a new leaf that he gave me about a month ago, probably. It was over the summer, I know that. It came in pretty jacked up. You can see this part was missing, and it is doing some crisping things, but it's still holding on, so it's fine. I do have this in moss. It's got some nasty looking algae on the top there, so I should probably change the moss, or maybe even move him over to soil. But guys, he is putting out a new baby leaf right there. So I don't know if this plant's going to require high humidity from me, if it's going to continue being, a drama queen in that sense, or if it's the leaves that it puts out from here on out are normal, and hopefully they don't do this. But I don't know, I think the Forgetty Eye is a really cool Anthurium, and I love the suede-like leaves. Like, they feel amazing, they look amazing. I also really like the circular shape of the Forgetty Eye leaf. It's not heart-shaped, there's no slit in the lobes at the top where the ears would be. I just think it's really interesting, and it's a unique Anthurium for sure. Yeah, this is my Forgetty Eye. It is growing, so stay tuned for updates because I'll be sure to share what this new leaf looks like, as well as the ones on all of the other ones we see today. He's a rehab, he's a work in progress, but he is doing okay, considering. I think we're about done. Guys, I really do not have that many Anthuriums, so I think we're down to the last two now. If you follow me on Instagram, then you may know that this is one of my favorite plants. This is the easiest, most chillax, like awesome, beautiful Anthurium I have ever had in my collection. Like I said, I haven't had a ton, but it's amazing. This is Anthurium Magnificum. This would be an Anthurium that I highly recommend for anyone, and especially beginners that are looking to dip their toes in the Anthurium puddle. If you're looking to maybe get one to try it out and see how you do with it, this is one that I would definitely recommend, especially if you want one that's a little bit more velvety. Yeah, this is my Magnificum. I actually got this in a plant trade. I did a swap for this, got it for free, and it was beautiful whenever I got it, and it's just remained really beautiful. It's survived spider mites, never really cared that much, never really threw a fit. I'd have lost a couple of leaves obviously, but if we look right here, he has currently got this new leaf baby coming in, and also he has a bloom bud coming in right here. I only left this on this long just to show you guys because I've had several of my Anthuriums bloom. Sometimes it means they're happy, sometimes it means they're incredibly stressed out, and it's like a defense mechanism for them to push out a bloom. A lot of plants do that. This one is clearly happy, but whenever they do push out blooms, I know I'm not using the right word, it's like inflorescent or something, is actually what they are called. Whenever they do, it takes up quite a bit of energy from the plant. So I'm actually quite surprised that this Magnificum is pushing out a leaf and a bloom at the exact same time. It's pretty cool to me. That tells me the plant's obviously pretty happy and doing pretty well. But yeah, I usually remove these once they push their way out because I would much prefer my plants put their energy, like all of their energy, into their foliage and the new foliage that they will be producing and putting out, rather than a bloom. I mean, they're not anything special. They're not that pretty. They're not pretty at all to me. This is also one that does really well in lower light settings. It loves these Growlights back here. Does great for me. The leaves are just beautiful. Obviously, we do have a few imperfections. Honestly, that's just from under watering. Like if I let this plant dry out too much for too long, over time some of the older leaves will get a little bit of crisping here and there, maybe a hole or two in them. If you keep up with the watering, they stay really beautiful, like this and like this. And I think this was his last newest leaf that he unfurled for me, and I love this plant with all my heart. There's almost like, if you look up close, like I know it's not going to show on camera, but the silver and the veins on these leaves almost has a very subtle shimmer to it. It's really beautiful, really just a gorgeous plant. I have one more baby, and this one actually is not a baby. I can't even like front and try to flex and act like I grew this Anthurium to this size. I absolutely did not. And if you look back a couple videos, this guy is actually in my thumbnail because I just unboxed him a couple of weeks ago from Echeveria. So I guess this can be an update for y'all if you did watch that video. Yeah, it still looks the same, just a little heads up. Yeah, it still looks exactly the same. I did not lose either of her gorgeous leaves. Like, just look at this. So I actually rearranged my plant room, I'm going to show you guys in my next chore video. It's going to pick up where my last one left off. But yeah, I completely moved plants in and out and made space for this and the beautiful philodendron that I got from Echeveria. Both of them doing fabulous. I'll do updates in the future on them, but nobody lost any more leaves. They're both actively growing, okay, and they look beautiful in there. They have prime real estate under my Mars Hydro, right beside my humidifier, and they're doing fantastic. Both of the leaves that she was shipped to me with are still hanging on, still beautiful, no yellowing, no decline whatsoever. And then right here in the sheath, there is a new growth point coming in. I'm not gonna mess with it too much because I don't want to break or screw up that growth point, but there is a new growth point coming in here. Very excited. I'm sure the new leaf is not going to be anywhere near the size of these two beautiful leaves here, but hopefully it'll be maybe, you know, half the size. I don't know. As long as the plant's happy and healthy and producing healthy leaves, then I'm a-okay with whatever it decides to give me. Oh, I don't even think I said what this plant is. This is Anthurium Regal. I don't think I said what this is. This is Anthurium Regal, another huge wishlist plant just like the Luxurians. I can't believe I own it. I can't believe how well it shipped, especially since the leaves are so large. The last large leaf Anthurium that I had shipped to me, all the petioles broke because the leaves were so dang heavy, but this one never went limp. It stayed firm. It was firm when I took it out of the box. And yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. That's it. I told you I don't have a huge extensive Anthurium collection. I wish that I had like 10 Anthuriums at this size that I could show you, but I don't. Hopefully in a couple of years I will have many large beautiful Anthuriums to share with you, because hopefully my little babies will grow up to look like this one day. For now, I'm still a beginner, and I think it's fine that I still want to share the ones that I do have in my collection with you and show them some love, because they're still important to me. I still love them, and they're still a part of my collection. So it is what it is. That's gonna do it. So thank you guys so very much for stopping by, hanging out with me today, watching this video. You are much appreciated. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, or a thumbs down if you didn't. Make sure you're subscribed if you wanna. Ding the bell so you don't miss videos whenever I post. And I'll see you guys again very soon in my next one. I love you guys. Bye guys.